The Get On Living Safely campaign is sponsoring this podcast to remind you to keep your spending in the community. Supporting local businesses keeps food on the table for our friends and neighbors. Follow them on social media and learn more at getonlivingsafely.com.
$20 in my pocket, don't know if I will make it home. Rock, paper, scissors, who would kill for the throne? $20 in my pocket, don't know if I will make it home. Rock, paper, scissors, who would kill for the throne? Set him in game, sparking a ladder for fire to bring for the flame. Of course, there's pain.
Today we're talking to Chris Matthews, aka Jet Hertz. We chat about his new album, Smoke and Mirrors, which is a collection of rap and instrumental songs. We go track by track, find out influences, struggles, and what's next for the musician. I'm Amy.
And I'm Brent.
And this is La Crosse Local.
So, new album, Smoke and Mirrors. It's written and produced by you. What's going on with the new album?
Well, pretty much this is my first tape, so I wanted to kind of show people what I can do. And since I've been producing, I kind of want to mix that in with some raps. Well, mostly raps and some beats in there. And because sometimes I'm like, I put so much work into this beat and nobody hears the nuance. And I'm like, I need to just let it breathe sometimes. So I try to like figure out how to like make it breathe where there's not too much space in between the rap songs and all that stuff. So it's a good listen through and showcases what I can do pretty much as an artist.
Through a lot of different rap albums, they have these kind of asides and these little kind of like shorts on there. Can you take me track by track down the album, what it's about, or just a little piece about each one?
So it starts off with Sunday Morning. It starts off with like a real short song. And that's just kind of like an intro into what this is going to be like. And on the second song, that's called Auntie/Uncle, there's a mix of like me rapping through it and then letting it breathe through a beat and then coming back to the chorus and then it just ending. Most of these songs are relatively short, just so you can get like a good gist of like all these different type of sounds that I'm using throughout this whole thing. So then the next song is Misery.
Lost just like Atlantis is pause, cause what you spit it to cancerous words put together so blasphemous. Broken get around like Zeus at force. He eating these and we gon' be eating to get gores. You got more stories to enjoy. It looks like I've been through misery. It looks like I've been through hell.
And it's kind of funny with this one. This was supposed to be recorded with another artist, and it was just supposed to be our song. And then that other artist was supposed to be like, well, if you want Fernando on it too, we can do that. And I was like, okay. So went up, recorded here at the house, and I looked at Fernando on his last take, and my computer glitched, and we lost that file. But I tried to bring it back up, and it was still corrupt, but I could load it so much where I could export what we recorded and get it back to my computer. And ever since that song can never be pulled up again. And I think that's crazy on that one because we got his last take and that's what it is on the track.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we got Buffer, that's an instrumental. And Reflections, I love this, kind of introduces the Eartha Kitt bites I use throughout this album. I use it twice because I love her so much. I use this sample. I can't remember what the sample is, but it's the only sample on the whole tape that I did this probably a year and a half ago. And I just was waiting. And I was like, man, I'm just going to license this. So I licensed it. I'm like, let's throw it on there. Let Go, just a normal song. Your Maker's another beat. And then we get into Kind and Rochambeau. These are kind of cool because I use some of the same hi-hats, but not on the same track out. Like, I don't use them like constantly in one, and I use them as like a ricochet hi-hat in the other. I think these are really my like hardest songs of the whole thing because it's really emotional and the 808s are really powerful on it. So it kind of gets that point across. As we go on, we use another Eartha Kitt sample, and I actually cut half of an interview where she was like laughing and happy and telling how she's strong and all that stuff. And I cropped it with another interview where she was sad and telling about her life struggles and all that stuff. So when she says her sentence in that, it's kind of reflecting on the good and the bad. And that's also why the song is split in half with Scars and Wanted. We got Better Now. That one's an old one too. And I was looking through my songs. I'm like, this will fit. This will fit. I like this one. So I threw that in. And I'd say this next one, Kings, is probably the latest song that I've worked on, probably like a couple months ago. Like, again, I think all of these really fit into what I was trying to go for through this, is just like what I can do, what I've shown, and how I'm going to proceed through the Smoke and Mirrors. And then we got I'm Still Breathing. We got a voicemail of my dad in the beginning, or I was on the phone with him and I was recording, and I just let the mic run, see if I can get anything. And then I put that on the beat that I was making. I think that one's the perfect one to end on. And it really is emotional, and you can just ride it out to the end, and it slowly ends. And you're like, okay, I could wrap all that in together. And it really is, in my opinion, the best way I could have sorted these songs, to be honest.
So what's the theme that's running through it? I mean, you kind of tell a story just through that process, but is there an overarching kind of, talked about joy and happiness, but also some sadness? Is there a theme that puts it all together?
I'd say it's perseverance. Me, myself, have an issue with being like satisfied. I mean, a lot of people aren't, but I'm always like, what is it? What's this thing that's itching me that's not good enough, or that I can't get a hold of, or something like that? Like, I can't, how should I say it? It's about being a better self. Like, I'm doing pretty good right now. I could always be doing better. And I think that's what I always keep in my head when I'm always making this music and stuff like that.
Absolutely. You know, and also during this time, during the pandemic, I'm sure there's lots of reflection time. What have been some of the struggles the last year with you pulling out these albums, but also, you know, just dealing with the global pandemic? Do those correlate?
Usually I'm just inside making beats all day anyway. So it's like, I'm kind of just writing and just, you know, being creative inside normally. So it's kind of a shock to everybody around me. And it kind of showed me, because I'm like, I don't even go outside. So what's up with that? And so they got more influence into their music because they could do it solo. And then I'm looking into it. I'm like, well, this isn't really much of a struggle. It's like I have more time to do the thing that I need to be doing to succeed in what I'm doing. Like I said in the other podcast we did, I think it just gave me a lot more time to write and think of new ways to make beats and stuff like that than going out and all that.
Seems like you're just actively releasing things, from working with Fernando to Knee High July, the new project, the Lavender Project. What have these collaborations been like?
Well, Fernando, I started music with Fernando, and it's always a pleasure working with him because we live together right now. I say we're getting back on tracks right now. Like the other day we were recording, and it felt real smooth and real fast and just better than we've recorded before. And we looked at each other like, yeah, man, we getting it. Like, recordings are taking real short time. That's always good because it takes hours sometimes to even edit the good recordings. With working with the people from Knee High July and Lavender Project, that just really expands my mind with like how I can approach a verse, even because I hear all their ways that they're approaching their different parts in the songs, that they have their own duty to, you know, do well. So I'm looking at myself, I'm like, can I do something else with some rhyme schemes, or go faster, go slower, change the pitch of my voice, all that type of stuff. It's really making me a better artist to expand and do different things with different people, instead of just doing it by myself, which I would be.
You know, you have the new album. What else is coming up for you? What are you excited about for this year?
Oh, I'm collaborating with a lot of people. I think it's fascinating how people can just do collaboration tapes. So I think I'm going to do a lot of those, because I listen to a collaboration tape. I'm like, okay, this duo really works well together. And I work well with a lot of other singular people. So that would be great to just get maybe like an EP with somebody else, or get an EP with them, get an EP with them. And I know I'm doing a mixtape with Fernando, and it should be out by the end of the year maybe, but we're still working on that. And then I have another group project with him and another rapper. And then we got to do some studio recordings with the Lavender Project, and we're making probably around a 3-hour set by summer. So we'll be working on that.
If people want to find out more or pick up your music, where's the best avenue to send them?
I'd say they could look us up individually or look me up on Spotify, iTunes. I'm on Instagram, all those places you can find music. You can find my music there.
Lacrosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you'd like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at Lacrosse Local. Find out more about us at lacrosselocal.com, and you can subscribe to the Lacrosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate it.